Hello everyone, thanks for being here. Let's get right into it. I'm Cardinal Logan of the Ecumenical Order of Christ, the only church order, the only congregation, the only order of clergy and knights who deliberately, knowingly represent the returned Christ, Lord Rael. He's been here for several years carrying out his duties as delegated by our Father in heaven, chastising nations, judging nations, and teaching as much as he can. Among his teachings and his private instruction, he's indicated that much of what we see in the world, in fact everything we see in the world on a global scale or on a national scale, is deliberate, it is engineered, it is orchestrated by heaven. Different factions within that. You have Satan on one hand and Christ on the other. Both were put here to accomplish a task, to generate a specific result. Both, at the end of the day, their own personal motivations aside, are here to make sure that the very best of the best are entered into our Father's kingdom. Our Father in heaven, whose name is hallowed. I don't know about you, but I don't see my name as being hallowed. I don't see any other name being hallowed. We don't even use that word anymore for anyone but him. Why is that? Because this God, this supreme being, this divine authority, to which all other divine authorities throughout history, by one name or another, have all bent the knee to. Yes, I'm talking about every other pantheon out there. Most of them are just reiterations of the same beings who were all sent by him. All of these beings, and beings we don't even know about, bow to the Father. A consciousness so supreme, so understanding, so wise, so powerful, so loving, and so terrifying that at the very least, according to Christ Rael, an entire galaxy heeds. An entire galaxy listens to his commands, listens to his will. Now there is a council in heaven of elders from many worlds, many races, many different forms of angels, as you would know them. These are the primary functional authority of heaven. The events that have taken place on earth for the past several thousand years since the inception of mankind have largely been an act of the council. Satan's place on earth and Christ's place on earth were from the council. However, I promise you, if the Father sets foot on their floor and says, "Go, this must be," it will be. There's not a one who would defy him, not for long. I've spoken about the Godhead of the entire universe at times. Some believe it to exist, some don't. There is a divine authority. And I've said that I don't know if Anu or our Father in heaven, Yod-He, Vod-He, I don't know if that is that Godhead. But this entire galaxy has been brought into unison by him. We, here on earth, a speck in that massive cosmos, have him to thank for every time we're given another chance. Thanks to a few recent studies being published, there's much greater question of the validity of our perception of the universe. It's being suggested that everything we see before us, everything in the heavens, everything on the ground, every sensation and every tip of every nerve is a simulation. It's been a few decades, so by now I'm sure most of us have seen The Matrix. God knows the internet loves to remind us of it. Personally, I love the trilogy. I'm a fan. But there's a question raised by the movies and by every person who's ever wondered since how much of what we perceive is valid. The question is this all a simulation? Is this all real? Or is it some dream, some vision, some concept given to us? How much is truly real It's an adolescent question. Most of us reach that point in our lives around adolescence, maybe a bit later for some, where we question all that we know, all that what is, and we wonder the implications that it could be false, or that it could be real, that there really is no safety net. I call this an adolescent question because there is something much more important to consider at the root of this. At the root of the question of the validity of our shared reality is this. Where does that leave you? Where does that leave you? At the end of the day, does a cut hurt any less? Is a lesson any less valuable? Is a hard-earned victory any less precious? Christ has hinted that much of what we see in the world is not as real as it seems, and this is valid. We stand upon a stage. We, the actors, we, the audience, two very different roles in one, stand upon this stage for one reason: to learn from each other, to become worthy of reality. Call it a simulation. What does the military do with simulations? They train with them. Understand there is a far greater eternity. There is a far greater stake that you must rise to. You stand to gain so much. In the name of Rael, I thank our Father in heaven for giving me this chance to speak with you. I pray that my words reach you. I pray that my words grab you by the heart, move you to act, and set your priorities straight. I want to see you thrive. I want you to be there with me when our Father in heaven parts the clouds, rolls back the sky, and sets his kingdom upon this earth. Choose your actions accordingly. Recognize what is pointless and recognize what has real value, what has real worth.